The morning mist clung to the Arkansas River like secrets refusing to be told. Dodge City was just beginning to stir in the distance, but here by the riverbank, death whispered through the reeds. "Hi, how are you? Sorry to interrupt your story, but what I'm going to ask you is really quick and it will really help the channel to grow and create new stories. Just click below the video image to subscribe. You'll be doing an act of kindness and encouragement to those who are just starting out. Thank you very much, and continue with your story." Elias Mercer rode his bay mare along the muddy shore, his gray-flecked hair catching the first rays of sunlight. At 43, his weathered face told stories he'd never speak aloud. His pale blue eyes, once bright with hope, now carried the weight of too many losses. He preferred these dawn rides when the world belonged to him alone, when the ghosts of his past seemed less insistent. A sound stopped him cold, muffled, desperate, barely human. "I can't breathe! Please! Someone, please open the sack!" The voice was young, female, fading fast. Elias's hand moved instinctively to his Colt .45. In Dodge City, kindness could get you killed as quickly as cruelty. Among the tall reeds, a burlap sack jerked violently, then went still. "Help me! I can't breathe!" Elias dismounted, his boots squelching in the river mud. Years of survival had taught him caution, but that voice, so young, so terrified, overrode his instincts. He approached the sack like a man walking toward his own grave. "Hold on there, miss. I'm gonna get you out." His weathered fingers worked at the rope binding the sack, professional knots tied by someone who knew their business. This wasn't random violence. This was calculated. The rope fell away. Elias pulled open the sack and a young girl tumbled out, gasping desperately for air. Auburn hair matted with sweat, dress torn and dirty, she couldn't be more than 16. Her name was Abigail Monroe, though Elias didn't know it yet. Thank you. I thought I was going to die." She opened her eyes and looked up at her rescuer. The moment she saw Elias's face, relief transformed into absolute terror. She scrambled backward, her eyes wide with recognition and fear that cut deeper than any knife. No, it can't be. She froze, staring at him as if she'd seen the devil himself. Elias raised his hands peacefully, confusion written across his weathered features. "Easy now, miss. I'm not gonna hurt you. I just pulled you out of that sack. You're him. You're Elias Mercer." The fact that she knew his name hit him like a physical blow. In Dodge City, Elias had worked hard to remain invisible, just another drifter with no past and no future. How did this terrified girl know who he was? "How do you know my name?" Abigail backed away, tears streaming down her dirt-stained cheeks. "They told me, they said if I ever saw you, that you were the one who—" She couldn't finish. The words died in her throat like a prayer in a burning church. "Who told you? What did they say? I can't tell you. They'll kill me if they find out I talked to you." In the distance, the thunder of approaching horses shattered the morning silence. Dust clouds rose on the horizon, at least 6 riders, moving fast and with purpose. Elias's trained ear picked up the sound of men who rode with the confidence of the law behind them. "Miss, whoever put you in that sack, they're coming back. We need to get you somewhere safe." "No, you don't understand. If they see me with you, if Sheriff Boone finds out—" The name hit Elias like a bullet to the chest. Sheriff Malachi Boone, a ghost from his past that he'd prayed would stay buried. "Boone's involved in this?" Abigail nodded frantically, her whole body trembling. He's the one who ordered them to put me in the sack." The hoofbeats grew closer. Elias could make out individual riders now, 6 men in long dusters, riding hard toward the riverbank with the determination of hunters, closing in on wounded prey. "Can you ride?" "What? Can you ride a horse?" "Because we're about to find out." He lifted her onto Sage, then swung up behind her. The mare protested briefly at the double load, but settled under Elias's firm hand. "Come on, Sage. Time to earn your keep." They rode hard along the riverbank, staying low to avoid being seen. Behind them, the 6 riders reached the spot where the sack had been. Even from a distance, Elias could see their leader, a tall man in a black hat who sat his horse with the arrogance of absolute authority. "That's him. That's Sheriff Boone." "I know." They rode in tense silence, the only sounds the pounding of hooves and Abigail's labored breathing. Finally, when they'd put enough distance between themselves and their pursuers, Elias pulled up in a grove of cottonwoods. "Why does Boone want you dead?" Abigail's eyes filled with fresh tears. "Because I saw something I wasn't supposed to see. Something that could destroy him." "What did you see?" "I can't tell you. Not yet. Not until I know I can trust you. Miss, I just saved your life, and I'm grateful. But they told me things about you. Terrible things." "What kind of things?" She looked at him with eyes that had seen too much for someone so young. "They said you killed Sheriff Boone's brother. They said you're a murderer." The words hung in the air between them like smoke from a funeral pyre. Elias felt the familiar weight of his past settling on his shoulders like a lead blanket. That was a long time ago. "So it's true. It's complicated. Murder usually is." They stared at each other across a chasm of mistrust and fear. In the distance, they could hear the sound of horses moving through the brush, searching. "They're still looking for us," Elias said. "We need to keep moving." "Where can we go? Boone owns this town. He has men everywhere. There's someone who might help us, someone who knew me before everything went wrong." "Who?" "Delilah Hart. She runs the Silver Dollar Saloon." Abigail's eyes widened. "The singer? But she's one of them. She works for Boone." "No," Elias said quietly. "She works for herself. Always has." As they prepared to ride again, Abigail grabbed his arm. "Why are you helping me? If what they say about you is true, why risk your life for a stranger?" Elias looked down at her young face, seeing in her eyes the same fear and desperation he'd carried for so many years. "Because maybe it's time I stopped running from my past and started fighting for something worth saving." The sound of approaching horses grew louder. Sheriff Boone's voice carried across the prairie, cold and commanding. "Find them! I want that girl back, and I want Mercer dead." Elias spurred Sage forward, and they disappeared into the maze of cottonwoods and prairie grass. Two souls bound together by secrets and the desperate hope that somewhere in this lawless land, justice might still be possible. But as they rode, neither of them noticed the figure watching from the ridge above, a man in a long coat with a rifle across his saddle, his face hidden in shadow. He waited until they were out of sight, then turned his horse toward town, carrying news that would change everything. The hunt had begun, and in Dodge City, the hunted rarely survived to see another dawn. The Silver Dollar Saloon stood like a beacon of sin and salvation in the heart of Dodge City's front street. Even in the early morning light, the building seemed to pulse with the memories of countless nights filled with whiskey, cards, and the kind of secrets that men killed to keep buried. Elias and Abigail approached through the back alleys, staying in the shadows cast by the tall buildings. The girl had barely spoken during their ride into town, but Elias could feel her tension like a coiled spring ready to snap. "Stay close," he whispered as they dismounted behind the saloon, "and whatever happens, don't trust anyone but me and Delilah." "How do you know we can trust her?" "Because she's the only person in this town who ever told me the truth, even when it hurt." The back door of the Silver Dollar was painted red, like dried blood in the morning light. Elias knocked 3 times, paused, then knocked twice more, a signal from years past that he hoped Delilah would remember. The door opened to reveal a woman in her 30s with raven-black hair and intelligent green eyes that missed nothing. Delilah Hart was beautiful in the way that frontier women learned to be, strong, sharp, and dangerous when cornered. She wore a simple morning dress, but even without her stage makeup and feathers, she commanded attention. "Well, I'll be damned," she said, her voice carrying the hint of an accent that spoke of better times back east. "Elias Mercer, I heard you were dead." "Not yet, though it's been a close thing lately." Delilah's eyes shifted to Abigail, taking in the girl's torn dress and frightened expression. "And who's this little bird you've brought to my nest?" "Someone who needs help. Can we come in?" Delilah stepped aside, but her hand rested on the small derringer she kept hidden in her dress pocket. "Quickly. The morning crowd will be here soon." and some of them have very long ears. They entered through a narrow hallway that led to Delilah's private quarters above the saloon. The room was surprisingly elegant, fine furniture, real books, and paintings that spoke of a woman who had once known a different life. "Sit," Delilah commanded, pouring coffee from a pot that had been keeping warm on the stove. "And tell me why you're here, Elias. After 3 years of silence, you show up at my door with a terrified child. This isn't a social call." Abigail spoke before Elias could answer. "Sheriff Boone tried to kill me. He had his men put me in a sack and throw me in the river." Delilah's coffee cup stopped halfway to her lips. "Malachi Boone? That's a serious accusation, child." "It's the truth. I saw him kill someone, and now he wants me dead." "Who did you see him kill?" Abigail's voice dropped to a whisper. "My father." The words fell into the room like stones into still water, creating ripples of shock and understanding. Delilah set down her cup and studied the girl with new interest. "Your father? And who might that be?" "Thomas Monroe. He was the territorial judge." Delilah's face went pale. "Judge Monroe is dead?" "3 days ago. Boone shot him in his study and made it look like a robbery. But I was hiding in the closet. I saw everything." Elias felt pieces of a puzzle clicking into place. "That's why Boone wants you dead. You're the only witness." "But why would Boone kill a judge?" Delilah asked. Abigail's hands shook as she reached into her torn dress and pulled out a folded piece of paper. "Because of this. My father found out about Boone's real business. He wasn't just taking bribes. He was running stolen cattle through Dodge City, selling them to buyers in Kansas City. Thousands of head, worth more money than most people see in a lifetime." Delilah unfolded the paper and read quickly. Her expression grew darker with each line. "These are shipping records. Bills of sale for cattle that were reported stolen from ranches across Texas and Oklahoma. My father was going to arrest Boone. He had enough evidence to send him to prison for the rest of his life. But Boone found out." "How?" "Someone warned him. Someone my father trusted." Elias leaned forward. "Who?" "I don't know. But whoever it was, they're the reason my father is dead." A knock at the door made them all freeze. Delilah held up a hand for silence and moved to the window, peering carefully through the curtain. "It's Doc Travers," she said. "He looks worried." She opened the door to admit a man in his 50s with kind eyes and steady hands that had saved more lives than he'd ever taken. Dr. Benjamin Travers was one of the few truly good men left in Dodge City, which made him either very brave or very foolish. "Delilah, I need to speak with you. It's about—" He stopped when he saw Elias and Abigail. "Oh, I didn't realize you had company." "It's all right, Doc. They're friends." "What's got you so worked up?" Doc Travers removed his hat and ran a hand through his thinning hair. "There are men asking questions about a girl. Sheriff Boone's men. They're going door to door, searching every building in town." "What kind of questions?" "They're looking for Judge Monroe's daughter. They say she's dangerous, that she killed her father and is on the run." Abigail gasped. "That's a lie." Doc Travers looked at her with surprise, then understanding. "You're Abigail Monroe." "Yes, sir." "Child, the whole town thinks you murdered your father. Boone has a warrant for your arrest." "It's all lies," Elias said. "Boone killed the judge, and now he's trying to frame the girl to cover his tracks." Doc Travers studied Elias with the careful eye of a man who had learned to read people's souls through their wounds. "And you are?" "Elias Mercer." The doctor's face went white. "The man who killed James Boone? I defended myself against a man who was trying to murder me. James Boone was a killer just like his brother. That's not how Malachi tells it. Malachi wasn't there." Doc Travers looked between Elias and Abigail, weighing what he knew against what he was seeing. "If what you're saying is true, then this whole town is in danger. Boone has been building his power for years. He has men everywhere." "That's why we need help," Delilah said. "We need to get Abigail somewhere safe while we figure out how to prove her innocence." "Where can she go?" "Boone controls the law, the telegraph, even the stage lines." "There's one place," Elias said quietly. "The old Garrett Ranch. It's been abandoned for 2 years, but the buildings are still solid. We could hide there while we gather evidence." That's 20 miles through open country, Doc Travers protested. Boone's men will see you coming from miles away. Not if we go at night, and not if we have help. Delilah smiled grimly. What kind of help? The kind that involves creating a distraction big enough to keep Boone's attention focused on town while we slip away. What are you thinking? Tonight is Saturday. The silver dollar will be packed with cowboys and gamblers. What if word got out that Elias Mercer was here drinking at the bar? You want to use yourself as bait? I want to give Boone what he's always wanted, a chance to finish what his brother started. Abigail grabbed his arm. No, you can't. He'll kill you. Maybe, but it's the only way to get you out of town alive. Doc Travers shook his head. It's too dangerous. There has to be another way. There isn't. Boone won't stop hunting her until she's dead or he is. At least this way we control the when and where. A commotion in the street below made them all rush to the window. Sheriff Boone rode down Front Street with 6 armed men, stopping at every business and demanding to search for the murderous Monroe girl. They're getting closer, Delilah observed. We need to decide quickly. Elias looked at Abigail's frightened face and made his choice. Tonight. We do it tonight. And if you don't survive, then you make sure she gets to safety. And you make sure the truth about Judge Monroe gets told. As they watched Boone's men search the buildings across the street, none of them noticed the figure in the shadows of the alley below. A man with a badge hidden beneath his coat, listening to every word through the thin walls of the old building. The trap was being set, but the question remained. Who was the hunter, and who was the prey? Night fell over Dodge City like a black shroud, bringing with it the promise of violence and the scent of rain on the wind. The Silver Dollar Saloon blazed with light and noise, its bat-winged doors swinging constantly as cowboys, gamblers, and drifters sought refuge from their demons in whiskey and cards. Elias stood in the shadows across the street, watching the controlled chaos of Saturday night in a frontier town. His plan was simple in its audacity. Walk into the saloon, make sure everyone knew Elias Mercer was back in Dodge City, and draw Boone's attention while Delilah and Doc Travers spirited Abigail away to safety. Simple plans, he'd learned, were the ones most likely to get you killed. You don't have to do this, Abigail said from beside him. Despite their arguments, she'd refused to leave until she saw him safely inside the saloon. Yes, I do. It's the only way. Why? Why risk your life for someone you barely know? Elias was quiet for a long moment, watching the light spill from the saloon windows onto the muddy street. 3 years ago, I killed a man in this town, James Boone. He was trying to murder an innocent family over a land dispute, and I stopped him. But I ran afterward, instead of staying to face the consequences. That family died anyway, killed by Boone's men while I was hiding in the hills like a coward. You're not a coward. I was then. Maybe this is my chance to make up for it. Doc Travers emerged from the alley behind them, leading 2 horses. Everything's ready. Delilah's got the back door clear, and I've got supplies for 3 days at the Garrett Ranch. What about the evidence against Boone? Hidden where he'll never find it. If something happens to us, there are people who know where to look. Elias checked his Colt 45 one final time, then looked at Abigail. When you get to the ranch, stay hidden until we come for you. Don't trust anyone else, no matter what they say. What if you don't come? Then Doc will get you to the territorial marshal in Wichita. He's an honest man. Abigail suddenly threw her arms around him, surprising them both. Thank you. For everything. Don't thank me yet. We're not out of this. As Abigail and Doc Travers disappeared into the night, Elias crossed the street and pushed through the bat-wing doors of the Silver Dollar. The noise hit him like a physical force. Laughter, shouting, the clink of glasses, and the shuffle of cards. Piano music drifted from the corner where a man in a bowler hat played with more enthusiasm than skill. Delilah stood on the small stage, her voice weaving through the smoke and noise like silk through rough hands. She caught his eye and nodded almost imperceptibly, the signal that everything was in place. Elias made his way to the bar, noting the faces around him. Some he recognized from 3 years ago, others were new. All of them carried the hard look of men who lived by the gun and died by it. "Whiskey," he told the bartender, a thick-set man with scars on his knuckles and wariness in his eyes. "You got money to pay for it?" Elias laid a silver dollar on the bar. That enough? The bartender poured the drink and slid it across the scarred wood. You're new in town? Not exactly. A man at the end of the bar looked up from his cards, squinting through the smoke. Wait a minute. I know you. You're Elias Mercer, Elias said loudly enough for half the saloon to hear. And I'm back. The effect was immediate and electric. Conversations stopped. Cards were forgotten. Every eye in the place turned toward the bar, and Elias could feel the weight of their attention like a target painted on his back. Well, I'll be damned, someone whispered. Mercer's got some stones coming back here. Boone's gonna kill him for sure. Should we send word to the sheriff? Hell, Boone probably already knows. He's got eyes everywhere. Elias finished his whiskey and ordered another, playing his part. He needed to stay visible long enough for Abigail to get clear of town, but not so long that he couldn't fight his way out when the time came. The batwing doors swung open, and a hush fell over the saloon. Sheriff Malachi Boone stepped inside, his black coat still dusty from the trail. He was a tall man with cold eyes and the kind of smile that promised pain. Behind him came 4 of his deputies, their hands resting on their gun butts. Well, well, Boone said, his voice carrying easily through the sudden silence. Look what the cat dragged in. Elias Mercer. I heard you were dead. Sorry to disappoint you, Malachi. Oh, I'm not disappointed. I'm pleased. Saves me the trouble of hunting you down. Boone approached the bar slowly, his spurs ringing against the wooden floor. The other patrons melted away, leaving a clear space around the 2 men. You know why I'm here, Boone continued. You're harboring a fugitive. A murderer. The only murderer I see is standing right in front of me. Boone's smile widened. Careful, Mercer. That kind of talk could get a man killed. Like you killed Judge Monroe? The judge was killed by his own daughter. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows what you told them to know. You always were too smart for your own good. Just like my brother said before you shot him down like a dog. Your brother was trying to kill an innocent family. I stopped him. You murdered him. I defended myself against a killer, just like I'm going to do now. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a knife. Every man present knew they were witnessing the prelude to a gunfight, and most of them were already calculating the best way to avoid the flying lead. Delilah's voice cut through the silence like a blade. Gentlemen, perhaps we could settle this outside? I'd hate to get blood on my clean floors. Good idea, Boone said, never taking his eyes off Elias. Shall we, Mercer? They walked toward the doors together, the crowd parting before them like water before the bow of a ship. Outside, the street was empty except for a few horses tied to hitching posts and the distant sound of music from other saloons. Just like old times, Boone said as they faced each other in the middle of Front Street. Except this time, there's no one to save you. I don't need saving from you. We'll see about that. They stood 20 feet apart, hands hovering over their guns. The night wind whistled between the buildings, carrying with it the scent of rain and the promise of death. Before we do this, Elias said, tell me one thing. Who told you that Judge Monroe was going to arrest you? Boone's smile faltered for just a moment. What makes you think anyone told me anything? Because you're not smart enough to figure it out on your own. You always did have a smart mouth, Mercer. It's going to get you killed. Maybe. But at least I'll die knowing the truth. The truth? Boone laughed. The truth is that you're a killer and a coward, and in about 10 seconds you're going to be a dead man. Draw. Both men went for their guns simultaneously, but Elias was faster. His Colt .45 cleared leather and fired before Boone's gun was even level. The shot echoed through the street like thunder, and Boone staggered backward, clutching his shoulder. You're losing your touch, Malachi, Elias said, keeping his gun trained on the wounded sheriff. 3 years ago, you would have been dead. This isn't over, Boone snarled through gritted teeth. Yes, it is. Boone's deputies started to move, but Elias swung his gun toward them. I wouldn't. Your boss is still alive, but that can change real quick. Let him go, Boone ordered his men. This isn't finished. It is for tonight. Elias backed toward his horse, keeping his gun ready. As he mounted, he called out to the crowd that had gathered to watch the gunfight. Judge Monroe was murdered by Sheriff Boone. The evidence is hidden where honest men can find it. Tell everyone. He spurred his horse and rode hard out of town, leaving behind a street full of witnesses and a wounded sheriff whose carefully constructed web of lies was beginning to unravel. But as he rode through the darkness toward the Garrett Ranch, Elias couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The gunfight had been too easy, Boone's reaction too predictable. It wasn't until he saw the smoke rising from the direction of the abandoned ranch that he realized the truth. He hadn't been the hunter tonight. He'd been the hunted. The Garrett Ranch burned against the night sky like a funeral pyre, orange flames licking at the darkness and sending sparks spiraling into the star-filled heavens. Elias rode hard across the prairie, his heart pounding with a fear deeper than any he'd known in battle. The acrid smell of smoke filled his nostrils, and with it came the terrible certainty that he'd been played from the very beginning. As he crested the hill overlooking the ranch, he could see figures moving in the firelight. Sheriff Boone's men, at least a dozen of them, surrounding the burning buildings. And there, tied to a post in the center of the yard, were Abigail and Doc Travers. Elias dismounted and approached on foot, using the shadows and smoke for cover. His wounded shoulder throbbed from the earlier gunfight, but he pushed the pain aside. He'd been outmaneuvered, but the game wasn't over yet. "I know you're out there, Mercer," Boone's voice carried across the flames. The sheriff stood near his prisoners, his left arm in a makeshift sling but his gun hand steady. "Come on down, or I'll start shooting your friends." Elias moved closer, counting men and calculating angles. 12 armed men, all positioned with clear fields of fire. No cover except the burning buildings, and those were death traps. It was a perfect ambush, which meant someone had told Boone exactly where they'd be. "You've got 1 minute, Mercer," Boone shouted. "Then the girl dies." "Don't do it." Abigail's voice was strong despite her fear. "It's a trap. He's going to kill us anyway." "Shut up!" One of Boone's men struck her across the face, and Elias felt rage burn hotter than the flames around him. He was about to step into the open when a hand grabbed his shoulder. He spun, gun drawn, only to find Delilah Hart crouched behind him in the shadows. "Easy, cowboy," she whispered. "It's me." "Delilah? How did you—" "I followed you. Good thing, too. You were about to walk into a slaughter. I have to save them. Not by getting yourself killed. We need a plan." "There's no time for a plan. Boone's going to wait. He wants you alive, Elias. He wants to make you suffer before he kills you." "Why? What's this really about?" Delilah's face was grim in the firelight. "It's about more than just his brother. It's about the money, the cattle-rustling operation Judge Monroe discovered. It's bigger than we thought. Boone's been stealing cattle from ranches across 3 territories, selling them through a network that reaches all the way to Chicago. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. And Judge Monroe was going to expose it all. Not just expose it. He was going to seize all of Boone's assets and distribute them to the families who'd been robbed. Boone would have lost everything. So he killed the judge and framed Abigail. But that's not the worst part." Delilah's voice dropped to a whisper. "I know who told Boone about the judge's investigation." "Who?" "Doc Travers." The words hit Elias like a physical blow. "That's impossible. Doc's been helping us. Doc's been playing both sides. He's been Boone's informant for years, feeding him information about anyone who might threaten his operation. When Judge Monroe started asking questions, Doc told Boone everything. But why is he tied up with Abigail? Because Boone doesn't trust anyone. He's tying up loose ends. Doc knows too much, and now he's a liability." Elias stared at the scene below, seeing it with new eyes. Doc Travers, the man he'd trusted with Abigail's life, had been working for Boone all along. The whole escape plan had been a setup from the beginning. "Time's up, Mercer," Boone called out. "I'm counting to 10, then I start shooting." "We need a distraction," Elias said. "What kind of distraction?" "The kind that involves a lot of noise and confusion." He pointed to a water tower on the hill above the ranch. "Can you hit that with a rifle?" "I can try, but what good will that do?" "Trust me." Delilah pulled a Winchester from her saddle and took aim at the water tower's support legs. "When I shoot, you move fast. Wait for my signal." Elias crept closer to the ranch buildings, using the smoke and shadows for cover. He could hear Boone counting down, his voice echoing across the yard. 5, 4, 3, now! Elias shouted. Delilah's rifle cracked, and the water tower groaned and tilted. A second shot brought it crashing down, sending thousands of gallons of water cascading into the burning buildings. Steam exploded into the air, creating a thick fog that obscured everything. Elias charged through the chaos, his gun blazing. 2 of Boone's men went down before they knew what hit them. He rolled behind a water trough as bullets whined overhead, then came up firing. "Get him!" Boone screamed. "Don't let him reach the prisoners." But the steam and smoke made it impossible to see clearly. Elias moved like a ghost through the confusion, picking off Boone's men one by one. Years of survival had taught him to use every advantage, and chaos was his oldest friend. He reached Abigail and cut her bonds with his knife. "Can you move?" "Yes, but Doc's been working for Boone all along. We can't trust him." Her eyes widened in shock, but there was no time to explain. More gunshots erupted around them as Boone's remaining men tried to regroup. "This way!" Elias led her toward the horses, but a figure stepped out of the smoke to block their path. Sheriff Malachi Boone stood before them, his gun trained on Abigail's heart. His face was twisted with rage and pain from his wounded shoulder. "End of the line, Mercer. Let her go, Boone. Your fight's with me. My fight's with anyone who threatens what I've built. Do you have any idea how much money I've made? How much power I've accumulated? Blood money, built on the suffering of innocent people." "Innocent?" Boone laughed bitterly. "There's no such thing as innocent in this world. There are only the strong and the weak, the hunters and the hunted. Which one are you?" "I'm the one with the gun pointed at this girl's heart." "Actually," a new voice said from behind Boone, "I'm the one with the gun." Boone spun around to find Delilah Hart standing in the smoke, her derringer aimed at his head. "Hello, Malachi. Remember me? Delilah? What are you doing?" "What I should have done years ago." "You're making a mistake. We had a deal. The deal's off. I'm tired of being your spy." Elias stared at Delilah in shock. "You were working for him too?" "I was protecting myself and gathering evidence. Every conversation, every plan, every dirty deal, I've been recording it all." She pulled a small leather journal from her coat. "Names, dates, amounts, everything you need to bring down his entire operation." Boone's face went white. "You can't do this to me. I made you rich. You made me a prisoner, but that ends tonight. Delilah, please." "Goodbye, Malachi." The derringer cracked, and Sheriff Malachi Boone fell to the ground. His reign of terror finally ended. In the sudden silence that followed, they could hear the sound of approaching horses. A dozen riders emerged from the darkness, led by a man wearing a federal marshal's badge. "Marshal Williams," Delilah called out. "Right on time." The marshal dismounted and surveyed the scene. "Miss Hart, I got your message. Is this the evidence you promised?" She handed him the journal. "Everything you need to clean up this mess, names, locations, bank accounts, the whole network. And the girl, Abigail Monroe, the only witness to Judge Monroe's murder. She's been through hell, but she's safe now." Marshal Williams looked at Elias. "And you're Mercer. I've heard about you. Nothing good, I'm sure. Actually, quite the opposite. Miss Hart's been sending reports about your character for months. She recommended you for a deputy marshal position." Elias looked at Delilah in amazement. "You've been planning this for months?" "Someone had to clean up this town. I figured it might as well be us." As the sun rose over the Kansas prairie, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink, the last of Boone's men were rounded up and arrested. Doc Travers, his betrayal exposed, was led away in chains. His medical career and reputation destroyed forever. Abigail stood beside Elias, watching the sunrise paint the world in new colors. "What happens now?" "Now you go back to school. Live the life your father wanted for you." "What about you?" Elias looked at the marshal's badge Williams had offered him, then at Delilah, who smiled encouragingly. "I think it's time I stopped running from my past and started building a future." "Does that future include me?" Delilah asked. if you'll have a broken-down cowboy with too many ghosts. I've always preferred men with interesting histories. As they rode back toward Dodge City, Abigail between them on her own horse, Elias felt something he hadn't experienced in years. Hope. The town would need rebuilding, both physically and morally. There would be honest work to do, honest people to protect. For the first time since his brother's death, Elias Mercer was ready to stop being a lone cowboy and start being part of something bigger than himself. The sun climbed higher, burning away the last of the night's shadows, and with them, the darkness that had haunted Dodge City for far too long. Justice had finally come to the frontier, carried on the wind like a promise of better days ahead. Hello, how are you? Did you enjoy the story? Like, share, comment on which city you're watching from, and subscribe to the channel to help us continue adding new amazing videos.